Okay, good evening, everyone. First of all, it's a beautiful night tonight. I want to really thank Mike Fax for coordinating him and all the donors. There was many donors that coordinated together, and it's a beautiful night. Really, really nice night. A night like this, we're dedicating for Torah learning. You know, it says Torah magna u'matzlah. Torah protects and saves. What we're doing tonight is really, we're protecting the streets. I always say the famous story of the Hafetz Haim. It's an amazing story, and I love it with a passion. What happened was, Hafetz Haim was once collecting money for hospital beds. There wasn't enough hospital beds in the hospital, and he got all the wealthy people in one room. He was going around. Okay, how much you're donating? How much you're? And each guy was saying 5, another guy 10, another guy 20, another guy 10, another guy 20. All of a sudden, some yeshiva guys came in. And the Hafetz Chaim's here, we want to see the Hafetz Chaim. They went to the back and they think, Hafetz Chaim stopped everything. Oh, the yeshiva guys, they're learning Torah all day. We got to give them the right respect. And he's respecting them and this. So one rich fellow goes to the back and says, Rabbi, and how many hospital beds are these yeshiva guys donating? And I was trying to make fun of the guy. And the Hafetz Chaim said 50, without batting him. 50. He says, 50? What are you talking about? How do you get 50? He says 50 hospital beds from not even coming into the hospital. Because when they learn Torah, when a person learns Torah, you protect and you save the surrounding. I'll tell you a personal story that happened to me with my daughter Batsheva. What happened was, and I know you heard the story, some of you, but it's an amazing story. I'll tell you, Torah Magna Matzlah, like the famous quote that our rabbis teach us. Torah Magna Matzlah. I think they said about the Hazon Ish. Anytime the Hazon Ish was in Bnei Brak, nobody has to worry about any bomb. Hazon Ish lives in Bnei Brak. Rav Chaim Kanievsky lives in Bnei Brak. You have nothing to worry about. Bomb scare, no bomb scare. There was one time the Brisker Rav was sitting down and learning, and he would learn at the dining room table. He would sit and learn at the dining room table. So as he's sitting down and learning at the dining room table, what happened? There was a bomb, and everybody was very, very scared. And they said, Tati, please come down to the bomb shelter. Please come down to the bomb shelter. So I'm learning Torah. Torah protects. What are you kidding me? Torah protects. He says, no, please, Daddy, please. He says, you know what? I'll go. He ends up going. They come after the siren. They go back to the house, and they're sitting by the dining room table, and they see where the Brisker Rav was learning. That's where the bomb hit. And they were flipping out. Now you see, Tati, we saved your life. You saved my life. You ruined my dining room table. If I was sitting down to learn, no bomb would have been here. See, that's the power of the Torah learning. You have to understand that. When you're learning Torah in your life, you're producing bracha. I'm not joking. It's a real thing. You know, sometimes there was a father that actually told me, he said that whole his life he was in business. Father told me this story. His entire life he was always in business. But unfortunately he wasn't making a lot of money. Okay, he couldn't. What should he do? All of a sudden, he sent one of his kids to Israel to learn Torah for the year. That year he went. He says, that year was the biggest bracha I had in my whole life in business. Yeah? Because what? His child was sitting and learning. You bring the bracha. So tonight, we definitely are bringing bracha to the world, learning the Torah. And you should just know, it's a very big zechut that we have tonight. I just want to say that story actually about my daughter. It's a crazy story. It happened many years ago. I told my wife, I said we're having a barbecue. You can put on the AC if you want. You want to put the AC? You can put on the AC. It's a little hot. Or shut the heat. It's a little hot. You don't need AC, so shut the heat. So he says like this. I'll tell you a quick personal story that happened to me. And we were in Jersey. My in-laws were having a barbecue. And I'll tell you the person's name that was involved. What happened was, I told my wife, I said, listen, My wife actually told me, he says, you sit and learn, and as soon as the barbecue's ready, because we're waiting for the whole family, then we'll call you and you'll come down. I say, you sure? I don't want to be disrespectful and not show myself with the family. Don't worry, sit and learn. So I sat in my room, kept on learning. Gemara Chagigah. I remember I was learning the Gemara. All of a sudden, after like about 3 hours, my wife comes in, and I didn't say anything yet, but I left actually. It was already like, it was getting very late. So what's going on? I walked out, and that's when my kids told me, yeah, they're here. But Daddy, you don't understand what happened. I was like, what are you talking about? Daddy, you don't understand what happened. Everybody's telling me, Daddy, you don't understand what happened. I was like, what happened? So I have a 2-year-old, and it's a very quiet street that we live on. It's a very quiet street to live in Jersey, almost like a dead end, as you say. Like literally, like almost like a dead end. Now one car, except the 4 houses that live on the block, go. And it happens to be, there was a fellow that was actually going down the block. And his name's, he has a real estate company, Maya Real Estate. He owns that real estate company. He's in Jersey. And as he's going, he sees my daughter, like literally right by the car, almost hits her. He brakes on the brake. He's shaking when he's bringing back my daughter to the house. And my wife is frantic. Everybody's frantic. When I came down, one of my family members, my wife actually told me, says, you should just know, I was watching her. I don't know how she left. I don't know what happened. But for sure, the Torah learning that you were learning protected the whole area over here. So a person has to understand, you learn Torah, you're bringing bracha to the world. Tonight, you are all bringing major bracha to the world, to your lives, to your families. And that's a great zechut. I'd also like to announce every Wednesday night over here. We have every Wednesday night, 8:30 we have a dinner. Nice dinner like you have over here. We have a dinner every Wednesday night. I know we stopped for a while because of Corona, but we got back into it. Everybody's welcome. Put it in your minds, put it in your calendar. Every Wednesday night, 8:30, dinner. 8:45, 8:50, we have shiur here. All is welcome. Bezrat Hashem. Now that being said, I'd like to speak about tonight a pasuk. The pasuk says, "Tzadik be'emunato yichyeh." Tzadik lives with emunah. Now I'm going to tell you something right here about the fish. Anytime you talk about emunah, remember what I'm telling you tonight about the fish. What's the fish? There's a story how there was one time, you know the story with the fish? There was one time the rabbi wanted to teach the kids emunah. And he told his students, please come to the front. I have to show you something. And he brings in a big, fat, smelly fish and puts it on the table and said, I'm going to dissect it right now. And you're going to see what's in this fish. He takes a big blade, opens up the fish, and they see little fish that the big fish ate that's inside. But this little fish is face forward inside the big fish. And the rabbi tells his students, you see the Emunah in Hashem? They look, he's like, Rabbi, what are you talking about? You see, head first, these fishes entered head first into the big fish's mouth. Do you know why? And he says like this. He says, because what happens? The big fish feel that they're very, big. So therefore, they don't need any help to get food. But as the big fish is running around trying to chase the small fish, he can't catch it. He can't catch the small fish. So what does he do? The big fish says, Borei Olam, I give up. I was relying on my strength. I was relying on this. I was relying on that I was big. But now I see it's impossible. Help me. Oh, you said help me? You called out to Hashem? Boop. The small fish jumps into his mouth. Small fish just jumps into the mouth. So now what about the small fish though? What happened to him? Why did he go straight in the mouth? I'll tell you why he went straight in the mouth. Because the small fish turns to Hashem, says, Hashem, I beg you. In front of me, I'm small and I'm a fast swimmer. I know how to swim very fast. But behind me, my tail, you got to back me up. Make sure nobody eats me by my tail, because I can't control that. But in the front, I'm a very fast swimmer. I'll maneuver. All of a sudden, the big fish is going, the small fish is going, and he's making sure. Hashem says, I'll watch you from behind because you prayed for that. But in front, you're going to see head first. You rely on yourself. Head first, you're going into the big fish. You hear what's going on over here? This is a big lesson in life, because, a person in life has to have faith only in Hashem. You cannot rely on any human being or anything for that matter except Hashem. And I have news for you. If heaven forbid you do rely on somebody or something besides Hashem, the Chavod Lavot says, okay, you're relying on that person? No problem, B'chavod. Let him take care of you. Let him take care of you. Let that person take care of you. The guy's praying, panasa, panasa, panasa. But deep down he's thinking, you know what? At the end of the day, if Hashem doesn't give me my panasa, at the end of the day, my father's rich, my father-in-law's rich, I have a rich brother. At the end of the day, Hashem, I'm praying for panasa. At the end of the day, I know I have some backup anyway. That's not the Emunah. The Emunah has to be when you're praying and you're davening and you're pouring out to Hashem. You're saying, Hashem, I'm only relying on you and nobody else but you. That's really Emunah. That's what it is. That's what it's all about. Right? Now, I want to tell you something. In Emunah and Bitachon, you must understand what's meant for you is going to come right after you. There's a pasuk in the Torah that the brachot, it says, Hisigucha. What does it mean, Hisigucha? Hisigucha means that the bracha will chase after you no matter what. So I'm going to tell you a personal story that happened to me. And we have tonight the few people that were in the car, Isaac Shihino and Mark Sankari, when it happened to me. What happened? We were on the way to Jersey. And I had to use the restroom for a second. So I walk in to a one of those stores, like I would say, like a gas station type. So you see the bathroom, it says out of order. It's really not out of order. But out of order just to say out of order. You see the order going out of it. I just saw you going out. How do you put out of order? I just saw you going out. So I caught him. I say, okay. So he looks at me. He says, no problem. I'll use the bathroom. But I'm not going to use the bathroom without buying something. I have to buy something. So I'm thinking, what am I going to buy? I'm not thirsty. I'm not hungry. I really don't know what to buy. I'm like, what am I buying over here? So you know what? I see behind he has scratch off lotto. I say, what? How much is the cheapest scratch off you have? He says $1. So, $1? I'll take the cheap one. I'll take the $1 one. So, okay. Give it $1. I use the restroom. I come back. He say, I said to myself, you know what? What do I lose? Let me just scratch it. I literally scratch it at the counter with the guy. I was like, I'm telling the guy, the Pakistani guy. I was like, how crazy would it be if I win? I go like this, I won $100 on the spot. I won $100 on the spot. Should I tell you why? I'll tell you why very simple. I'll tell you why very simple. The answer is, when something is meant to come for you, you could twist and turn back and forth. That item will come to you no matter what. No matter what. I have a relative of mine that's very big in real estate. He loves buying houses. And he tells me this story, personal story that happened to him. What's the personal story? There's a real estate agent. He's telling me the story, personal. And there's a real estate agent, and she wants to sell it. The house was worth $1 million. She's put it up for 1.1. So the guy says, I'm not going to give you 1.1. I'll give you $1 million. So she looked at him and said, you will never get this house for your price, ever. You won't even get it. She's like, what are you screaming about? Says, because I know I have a buyer, $50,000 more than $1 million. You are not going to get it. And he's thinking in his mind, he says, I did my hishtadlut. I did my part. I saw that this building is worth $1 million and not more. I'm only offering you $1 million. And guess what? He says in his mind, if it's meant to be for me, it'll be for me. Guess what? He walks away from the property. 6 months later, I'm telling you a true story, exact facts. 6 months later, he gets a text message. It's the old realtor. So what's going on? She writes, you want the house? Says, what? I thought I offered you $1 million. Yeah, you'll take it for $1 million, no problem. So what happened? They meet. Says, there's something, this house, you can't go for a mortgage because something was like an LLC and they can't get it off. If you take it with no mortgage, which he was able to do, you could get it for $1 million. And he ended up buying that house for $1 million. And he came to me telling me one thing. He said, never say never. Because if it's meant for you, it's meant for you. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And that's one of our principles of faith in our religion. What? Tzaddik ben oto yechyeh. Now there's one point I'd like to discuss with everybody now. Hashem has different names. It could be Amonai, Yud-Ke Vav-Ke, and it could be Elokim. So I want to discuss with you the name of Elokim. This is from the Arizal. Elokim, Aleph, Lamed, Hey, Yud, and the Mem Sofit. Now, anybody here? Oh, we have the Rabbi here. Rabbi, Chavod, Rabbi. Rabbi, you mind if I just give you an introduction? Introduce the Rabbi. The Rabbi doesn't need no introduction, but Baruch Hashem, you know, it says, Megalgelin zechut al yedei zakai. You know, Hashem was mezakehem lezakot et harabim to many people. Baruch Hashem, we're zocheh tonight to have the Rabbi, and you should just know it's a great zechut. And Bezrat Hashem, please.
Maybe Kvodo was in the middle of something, no?